It's Sunday evening, April 11th, and I'm trying to get my market bearings. Let's take a look at the market. Let's take a look at some trades. I got to show you some things that shaped up on Friday. If you watched my video that I posted to YouTube on Friday, I'd mentioned to you market's going to be fairly quiet through most of the day, should be grinding higher. We should have a little bit of a dip into the close and then a strong finish. I didn't expect this, but we got a huge blow off rally. In fact, Friday's video was called Here's When to Buy Stupid. What that meant was there are certain patterns where it looks like the stock is way ahead of itself, but it's not. Those are signs that the stock is going to continue to power higher. Look, on the S&P 500, we had that exact same pattern play out on Friday when I had just posted that video. 3 long green candles closing on their high, very little overlap with heavy volume. You can see it right there. That is when you need to buy stupid. We were watching this. I said, listen, this is a big rally. We're going higher. And we did. We went from 410.75 almost 10 points higher on the S&P 500 in the next 10 minutes after that. Also want to show you our strategy that we used for Friday. I'd mentioned to you in the Friday video. If you don't believe me, please go watch the video. I try and substantiate everything. I had said in the video, we want this little market dip late in the day right here so that it gives us an opportunity to buy some calls. We call this an option lottery play. This is not me posting trades that I found. These are members who are finding these trades. Yes, I also post option lottery trades as well. You can see how they're starting to get in on CRM. Long CRM, here they're long the CRM calls at 19 cents. They are buying the 230 calls at 19 cents. And I'm going to continue to scroll down, and you can see there's another one in. A lot of people joining in on that trade. So let's take a look at what the CRM calls did. That was the 230 strike that they bought for 19 cents. And I'm going to bring up the chart of CRM. The 230 calls finished in the money by $1.25. So these were purchased for 19 cents. That is a 500+% return. And you can see what the stock did from the time that everyone was getting in. Let me show you the chat room and the timestamp. That's at 1400 hours, just before the last hour of trading. And there you can see everybody's getting in here. Why? Because look at the relative strength that the stock had. Look how it continued to power higher. Put up the S&P 500. S&P 500 drifting lower, lower, lower. Stock ticking higher, higher, higher. It never gave up the bid the entire day. Strong buying. These are the types of setups that we find using Option Stalker. I think that CRM could be a stock to watch Monday. I really like it. Let me put up another major moving average here. And let me put up the 50-day. You can see how all the major moving averages converged right here. And look at what happened once that stock got through those two major moving averages, the 100 and the 200-day. It absolutely took off. This was a horizontal support level. You can see how it turned into horizontal resistance once the stock fell below it. Once it got back above this horizontal resistance level, it had a nice head of steam, and there you get the breakout to the upside. CRM still has lots of room to run, and you can see the earnings are not until May 27th. So lots of options to pick from. Here, I would suggest going down to about that 220 strike. Watch the stock open on Monday. Make sure that it's still strong relative to the market. Make sure that these major moving averages hold up. If they do, I think you can go down to that 220 strike price and sell the 220, 215 bullish put spread and try to exit that trade probably around the, let's take a look at the options right now and see what we've got for CRM. Let's go into the April 30th expiration. And there you can see a couple working orders that we have for the model account. I'm going to go down to the April 30th expiration, and we're looking at that 220, 217.50 bullish put spread. Click on the bid there, click on the ask there, and you can see the option bid ask is fairly wide. When I have 2.5 points between the strike prices, I like to get a 50-cent credit. It's not there. So you'd have to go a little bit further out in time to be able to get that type of credit. Maybe if you go out to the April, you're going to have to go out to the May expiration. You're going to need to have a pullback in the stock to see that type of credit on this one. 5/27 is the earnings date, so we can go out into May, and I'm going to check that May 2017.50, see what we can get there. And we're almost 2 standard deviations out of the money on that one. So there you can see it is 5 cents bid, offered at 85 cents. So 50 is pretty close to the middle. If we get a little bit of retracement in the stock Monday morning, and it looks like the S&P futures are down about 5 points right now, that monster gain that the S&P 500 had on the close Friday, we're likely to see a little bit of that come off on the opening Monday morning. But I still like the overall market. So we'll take a look at the market in just a minute. I like the CRM spread, selling the 220s, buying the 217.50s, doing that for a 50-cent credit using that May 7th option expiration. So let's take a look at what the market is doing. And I will have one other stock that I'll take a look at a little bit later that you might want to keep an eye on. Let's take the SPY off here, and let's just put up the SPY chart. And there you can see how the market has been continually grinding higher. Once we had this breakout to a new high, gap, there we had a couple of days of consolidation, and now off to the races again. That last push higher that I had mentioned right in here, very, very strong, huge buying. I would expect to see some of this come off, but not a lot, because this tells me that buyers are anxious to get long stocks into earnings season, which, by the way, starts this week. We've got JP Morgan Chase kicking things off. The banks will dominate the early scene. We've got interest rates stabilizing at a higher level. That's good for banks. We have all the stimulus checks out there, so that should mean that credit concerns are fairly low. We have improving labor markets. That should be good for banks. I think banks are going to post their number, and they should fare pretty well. I'm not trading the earnings announcement. I'm just trying to judge what that sector might do in terms of market support. I think it should be pretty good. Mega cap tech stocks will start reporting in about 2.5 weeks. That usually keeps buyers engaged. So I don't feel that the market is going to be making huge gains from here. And if it does, if it gets up to SPY 420 in the next week or so, I think you've got to be very careful, because then we could attract some profit taking. If I draw a horizontal line connecting these tops, you can see how the market is starting to break through the upper end of this trading channel. That is not always a good sign. That is usually a buying climax. We're not there yet. But if we got up to 420 on SPY, then I think you've got to be a little bit cautious. At least take some chips off the table. I'm not looking for any nasty, big market drops right now. We've got the economy improving, and we've got the Fed keeping their foot off the brake. They've said they're not going to raise rates until 2024. So I think we're in a sweet spot right now. I like everything that's happening. We just need to make sure that the market doesn't get ahead of itself, because 3 steps forward, 2 steps backward, 3 steps forward, 2 steps backward. We can expect this pattern to repeat, and there probably will be some profit taking if we get overheated. So, market, I like it. I'm going to go to a search, and I'm going to conclude tonight's video recording. I'm going to go to a new search that features short squeezes. We look for big short interest. We're looking for heavy volume on Friday, and we're looking for a stock that closed above the prior day's high. When I ran this search, there were 2 stocks that came up. RBLX, we're not going to look at because there's not a lot of data on that one, but DASH, I'm I'm going to click on that and we can take a look at that daily chart. Here you can see how the stock has volume and how the stock closed on its high of the day. This is one that you're going to want to keep an eye on. And I'm going to click GTC and I'm going to click on this candle just because it gets me close to the closing price from Friday. Then I will know if the stock was able to blow through that or not. And I will put another GTC alert right here on the top of that one. And that way I'm able to keep track of what the stock is doing. If it's making a new high, it's got a good chance to run up to this 50-day moving average. Now we keep an eye on all of our shorts by having this search run. Heavy volume today, stock above prior day's high. If I went through this exhaustive list of stocks that we're watching, you can see it's a very long list. And just like DASH, they sit dormant for a long time and there's no reason to do anything with them. But when they perk up like this, that's when we want to take action. RMO was a stock that I showed you last week. Hasn't done much. It had a 1-day spike, but man, was that a great day to trade that stock because it was non-stop upward price action on massive, massive volume. It was a move that you could really get behind almost the entire day. And I'm going to try and scroll back and show you that price action. So this one came up on our radar early in the day via that search. And look at that. Long green candles stacked one on top of the other on heavy volume. That's your key that it's going higher. And then look at that on massive volume. So we're looking for these short squeeze plays when we're day trading. Sometimes they could turn into good swing trades. So keep an eye on DASH. I really like CRM. I think that stock has lots of upside. Given the price action on Friday, it sure looks like buyers are lined up on that one. I think that's one that you want to watch for relative strength and buy it on any type of dip Monday morning. Market should be a little bit soft on the open. They're going to check the bid. Once the bid holds, I suspect that we will start to float higher into earnings season. Thank you. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.